So good afternoon, everybody. Today I am going to discuss about steels and alloys, a small topic on steels and alloys from the subject materials for engineering. In this session, let us see the topics which we are going to cover. So recap, medium carbon steel definition, properties of medium carbon steel, application of medium carbon steel, and high carbon steel definition and properties of high carbon steel and application of high carbon steel. Application of high carbon steel. So let's first take the recap. So in my first session, we have already discussed about the definition of the steel, which says that steel is fundamentally an alloy of iron and carbon with a carbon percentage of 1.5%. That 1.5% that is with respect to the weight. And it also has the alloying elements like copper, manganese, nickel, chromium that with the small elements, and that is used on that are used mainly to improve the property of the steel. So broad classification is mainly of two types, that is plain carbon steel and alloy steel. So plain carbon, as the name itself says, it is a plain carbon. There are no much other alloying elements. In the alloying steel, iron with carbon plus the other elements like chromium, aluminium, nickel, cobalt, are etc. are added in order to make it a better um, metal, that is to improve the properties of the steel. So definition of plain carbon and alloy steel, as I have already told you. Properties of low carbon or mild carbon steel, that is it has good machinability and weldability. So these are the properties of the low carbon. And then applications, when it comes to the application, it is used in gears, it is used in making gears, and then it is used in constructions, and then it is used in rivets. So it is used in sheets, it is used as blades, etc. So those are all the applications which we covered in the last session. So in today's sessions, in this session, we are going to discuss about the medium carbon steel. So it comes in the middle range. As in low alloy, there are three categories, that is low carbon steel, medium carbon steel, and high carbon steel. So this steel containing 0.3 to 0.7% of carbon is known as medium carbon steel. So it is heat treated as austenitizing, quenching, and then tempering. So that is the heat treatment process. You will come to know about the heat treatment in the next coming chapters. That is mainly done in order to improve the grain structure and in turn improve the material properties of the metal. So most often used in tempered conditions are tempered martensite. So medium carbon steels have low hardenability. Hardenability property of a medium carbon steel is low, and addition of chromium, nickel, molybdenum improves the heat treating capacity. As I have already told you, when it comes to the low carbon steel, we have understood, we have come across that it cannot be heat treated. Its strength can be improved only by the cold working. So, but here medium carbon steel can be heat treated by adding chromium, nickel, and molybdenum. So, heat treated alloys are stronger but have lower ductility. That means the heat treated alloys of the medium carbon steel, the heat treatment is mainly made to improve the material property of a metal. In this, when it is heat treated, it becomes stronger, but it lowers the ductility. We have already told that ductility is the property of a material by virtue of which it can be drawn into wires. That is, under the tensile force, it can be drawn into the wire force. So that ductility will be lowered when it is heat treated. So next, the properties of the medium carbon steel. What are the properties of the medium carbon steel? It is ductile, It is stronger than low carbon steel. That is because of the increase in the carbon content. As we have already discussed in the low carbon steels, the increase in the carbon content increases the hardness in case of a steel. So here the carbon content is increased when compared to the low carbon steel, and hence it is stronger. It is less tougher than low carbon steel. So it has good wear properties. So when it comes to the applications, it is used in connecting rod, spring clips, shafts and brakes lever, axles and crank pins, clutch disc, cushion ring, couplings, crankshaft. So this slide shows you the different products which are made of medium carbon steel. So like clutch plate, rear axle kits, and crankshaft, couplings, etc. So these are all the applications of medium carbon steel. When it comes to the high carbon steel, so initially the low alloy steel is mainly of three types, that is low carbon, medium carbon and high carbon. So we have discussed about low carbon and low carbon and medium carbon. Now this is the last type of the low alloy steel, that is the high carbon steel, which has the highest percentage of the carbon of 0.7 to 1.5% carbon, is known as high carbon steel. High carbon content provides, the capital C is the representation of carbon. um, So the high carbon content provides high hardness and strength, hardest and least ductile. It is very much hard when compared to the other two. Used in hardened and tempered conditions. Strong carbide formers like chromium, vanadium and Wolfman, that is the metal name, are added as alloying elements to form the carbide of these metals. So that is to improve the hardness. When it comes to the properties, that is hardness is high, strength is more, and it is least ductile, and it has a very high resistance property. Wear resistance property is very much high. So where do we use this high carbon steel? When it comes to the applications, it is mainly used in chisels, wrenches, jaws, or for vice, pneumatic drill bits, wheels for railway service, wire for structural work, shear blades, atomic clutch disc, hacksaws, etc. Rock drills, railway rail, circular saw, machine chisels, punches and dies, clutch disc, leaf springs, music wires, machine tools, mandrels, taps, etc. Thread metal dies, twist drills, knives, etc. Files, metal cutting tools, reamers, etc. So when it comes to the application, you can observe that it is used where most, like heating conditions, like cutting, where the cutting actions, because of the cutting forces where heat and vibrations are generated. So only in that conditions, like we use the high carbon steel as the materials to make the instruments. Like when it comes to the rock drill, you can see that in order to drill a stone, like a lot of vibrations are developed. So it is like it has to withstand the large number of forces, large amount of the forces and vibrations in order to do the prescribed job. So because of its hardness and toughness, it is able to be used, it is used in such machines or the equipments. So these are the examples like bench vise, chisel, metal die set, railway wheels, where these are the types of reamers and rock drill. So these are the applications. So in this session, we covered about medium carbon steel. Medium carbon steel is it is a type of steel where in which 0.3 to 0.7% of carbon is present when it comes to the properties of the medium carbon steel. Because of the increased amount of the carbon, it is slightly harder when compared to this of low carbon steel, but it can be heat treated, and it lowers the ductility. That is the main important point. It can be heat treated, but parallelly it is lowering the ductility property. That means when it is subjected to tension, it cannot be drawn into wires more easily as low carbon steel. When it comes to the application of medium carbon steel, it is used in clutch plate, then rear axles, and then crankshaft, etc. So high carbon steel, that is the highest. This high carbon steel is the one in which highest percentage of carbon is used, and the properties of high carbon steel, as like it is because of the increased carbon content, the hardness is more. And when it comes to the application of high carbon steel, it is used in most of the machine tools like rock drills, bench vise, and then chisel, so railway wheels, etc., where a lot of vibration, it has to sustain lot of vibrations or the cutting force, the heat generated while the cutting action. So these are all the applications of the high carbon steel. So at the end of this session, we are going to we'll go through some of the multiple choice questions. By that we can evaluate ourselves. Which steel constitutes the highest percentage of carbon? That is low carbon, medium carbon, high carbon, none of the above. Answer is high carbon steel. So the next question is carbon percentage in medium carbon steel. 0.3 to 0.7%, 0.5 to 0.6%, 0.2 to 0.5%, 0.1 to 0.5%. So it is 0.3 to 0.7%. Medium carbon steels are tougher than low carbon, medium carbon, high carbon, and none of the above. That is low carbon. That is mainly due to the increase in the carbon content. So it is tougher than the low carbon steel, mainly because of the increase in the carbon content. So rise in carbon content is will make the steel harder, improves machinability, increases toughness, improves wear resistance. Answer is harder. So increase in the carbon content makes the steel harder. So rock drill is made up of low carbon, medium carbon, high carbon, and none of the above. So answer is, we all know that it is made up of high carbon steel. So this is the reference, and with this, hope you understood this session, and with this I'm going to close the session. Thank you.